UW Teacher of the Year.
Yes, Shannon Smith, if you can step up. Commander Alvin Wagner from the VFW Post 5150 here in town.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so honored.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I'm John Cardwell. I'm the Senior Vice Commander for the Post. Real quick, if you bear with me, that we had 3 contests this year to support the school system. One was called the Patriots Pen, and it was an essay contest for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And we had 47 entrants, and this year's winner was David Villacana from Philadelphia Elementary School, and the essay was on how I can be a good American. The other one we had was called Voice of Democracy. That is for high school students. So not only do they have to write the essay, they have to record it, and it's a video recording that we judge. And that winner was Connor Radford, and it was on America, Where Do We Go From Here? So very proud of these students and the effort and everything they did. But reason we're here tonight is Shannon applied, and this is the Smart Mayor VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher Award. So this is a national contest, and there's 4 criteria we look at. It was passion, how well she uses resources, how well she integrates citizenship and patriotism in the classroom. She, without a doubt, won the Post, without any effort. But then went to the district, which is East Tennessee, and won that hands down. And now she's won the state. So the first teacher from Loudon County to win the district and the state VFW award. And she'll be recognized on March the 19th in Nashville at our Midwinter Conference. So congratulations to Shannon for this great. And now she will compete at the national level. And so she's up there, and we'll see how well that goes. And also the VFW will recognize the top junior ROTC cadet in March at Loudon High School. So thank you for your support, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So just real quick, in our 75+1 year, we're having our 76th anniversary Saturday. Y'all are welcome to come on by. We just got some snacks from 1 to 3, some military history stuff. This is the first. This is big for our Loudon County and for Loudon City. I'm a county resident, so we're very proud of her. All we did was push it forward. She did all the grunt work. This is all on her. Great job.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, moving on. I'll go ahead. Do we have any visitor wish to speak about a matter that's on or not on the agenda? Ms. Hunter?
Thank you. My name is Pat Hunter, and I'm here to do 2 things. First of all, I'd like to thank you for recognizing the students of Greenback, because they did a great job, and they deserve the recognition, so thank you. And I heard that the County Commission was equally impressed and very thankful. The other thing that I'm following up on is something that I brought up at the workshop, and that was a concern that I have about, actually it's in your budget too, under contract services, it's the disposal fee for garbage service. And I noticed that in Lenore City, in the commercial district, I noticed that one particular company, more than others, had garbage stacked, heaping over, and it made me wonder about what was happening with the schools. And it was mostly one company, and it's the same company that the county uses, and the school board uses as well. And I think that when we pay for a service, and we're paying roughly $5,400 a month, that we're entitled to really good service, because we're sort of, we have an issue in that we have to take our waste to the Matlock Bend landfill because of the interlocal agreement. So we can't ask at bid time, or we can, at bid time, we can ask other vendors to bid. But in 2016, we didn't have any other vendors because it turns out the company that picks up your garbage is the same company that runs the landfill, and they set the tipping fees. So imagine you have a competitor who sets the tipping fees, and if you have someone else that wants the garbage pickup service also, they can always give themselves a lower tipping fee. So what has happened is the other vendors don't want to bid. And that comes back to, basically, the school board has to go with Santec to have their garbage picked up. And I don't think they've been doing a good, providing a good service in picking up the garbage. And I think it needs to be addressed. I think Mr. Tinker is working on it, but it's unacceptable to have heaping garbage that isn't being picked up as per the contract. I would like for the county or the school board to request a new contract to where it specifies if they don't pick it up on day, let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that there be penalties and also stipulations that they have to pick it up by a set hour. And I didn't think about it until I was looking at Lenore City's bid that specifies they have to be there by a set time. So I think there are issues or matters that we can write into the contract. And if we have no other choice than to go with Waste Services, at the very least, they should either give credits for garbage that they did not pick up, or at the very least, do their job.
So you seen that at one of our schools, it was piled up?
Yeah, I think when I brought it up last
Multiple
month,
schools, yeah. I agree with everything she said.
I think there's ample documentation that it's happening, and it's just unacceptable.
We've sent that documentation down to county purchasing who operates the contract, but I agree with Ms. Hunter.
What do we need to do? Do we need to?
The county bids that out, but we can talk with Ms. Husky about adding those terms into the next bid contract. I think that's.
Yeah, I think that there has to be, we have to tighten up the language to ensure that if they don't do it, that, or be proactive, that they have to do it, and they have to do it on such and such a term, on a day, time, or whatever, but it has to be done. And if they don't do it, I think the county may have to do something with regards to opening the bid process. Because if you're not being provided good service, at the very least, you deserve that. You're paying for it.
Yeah, I think at least on a couple of occasions, we've asked the county to withhold payment on that, but that's within their purview.
I spoke with Susan Husky today, and I received an email at 3:30. She spoke with someone at Republic, and they are issuing a credit for several missed pickups. So basically what I'm doing, along with Mr. Tinker, whenever we get word that they have a missed pickup at any of the 10 locations, we have 10 locations, I'm keeping a spreadsheet to where we can share that with the purchasing director and then go from there to track down a credit for the services that we're not getting.
Right, but that is
But
so
I-
unnecessary
Yeah, I
because,
agree with you. My staff shouldn't have to spend extra time because someone's not doing their job.
yeah, that's the crux of the whole problem, is that if they have a problem, they need to address it. And it shouldn't come at the expense of the schools or the students. And I personally think it's a health issue too, so it's a double-edged sword. They have to do their job. I'm here as a private citizen, but I do sit on the Solid Waste Commission. And if you feel that you're not getting, if you're not seeing progress, please come to our meetings. It is on the second Tuesday of the month here in Loudon, down at Loudon City Hall. The VPs are there right now, and they may need to hear what the problems are and how they have to be resolved. We are a stakeholder, you are a stakeholder, and you deserve the best service that they provide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Horner. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the board about any matter on or not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to consent agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Got a motion from Mr. Newman, second by Mr. Presley. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Moffett?
Yes.
Ms. Bridges? Yes. Mr. Riding?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey? Yes. Mr. Presley?
Yes. All right, moving on, budget amendments. Will Daniel Hamptonsboro come up to the mic?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 141 and 142 amendments in your packet for your consideration tonight. I'll start with 141. We did receive an increase in our BDP in the month of January. That was for medical insurance increase. There was a 2% increase to our medical costs. That's on a calendar year and not our school year or fiscal year. So that did take effect in the month of January. We received $19,000 extra on our BP, which I put directly into our medical insurance line to cover those costs. We did receive some donations for Cindy Purdy's FRC for the weekend feeding that she does for students, $4,500, and we placed that into her budget as well. Insurance check, we received the first insurance check for Loudon High School for the water damage that took place last month, $14,522, and we're placing that in our maintenance budget. And we're cost centering that under Tennessee Risk Management, so that'll go directly for that repair. And that's it for our revenue, which we did have an expenditure for each of those revenues, so it had no effect on the fund balance. Our expenditures for 141, Greenback and Loudon Elementary are making moves within their allotted budget. CTE is doing the same thing, and then our maintenance line, we're moving $21,000 to contracted service. This is for the flooring of the gyms at the high school, which we do every single year. So we're just moving that into appropriate line so we can get that completed. But for 141, that's it. There's no effect on fund balance. I did put the new fund balance number on the sheet at $4.49 million, and that's based on the audit. We did receive the audit back. So that is updated based on the audit that was just released last month.
Mr. Presley, I hate to interrupt you, but can you tell me how many audits we have had with no findings now
I think 5.
in a row?
I think 5 in a
Okay.
row, yes.
And we ended up with more money than we thought we were going
Yes.
to. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it doesn't happen every year.
Okay,
but,
all right.
yeah.
Thank
Good,
you.
Chad.
No thanks to me, trust me. 142 amendments, Best for All grant, we did receive the Best for All grant. Mike, I don't know if you want to talk anything about.
Yeah, I cannot speak to that.
Okay. It's $200,000, and we put that all into instructional equipment. So I don't know that we plan to spend that money this year. We have until the end of next year to spend that money, but it has to be approved by you guys in order to
The
get it.
state will be making an announcement tomorrow. It is embargoed, and I'm not allowed to speak about it today. But along with that announcement, we'll be receiving some money. It may or may not match the money that you're right now looking at in that budget amendment, because we're just really good at what we do. But I can share some more information with you tomorrow on that, so.
The good thing is the paper goes out Wednesday,
Yes,
next week.
I will certainly share that
You'll get
information.
You'll get it.
It's a good thing, so.
SR2
It
amendment.
has to, the application for that money has to be turned in before the board formally meets again. So that's why I was pressed to have to do it tonight before I was supposed to do it. Sorry, Chad.
No, you're good.
So,
SR2 amendment, RTI and social worker, we do have those positions in our SR2. federal funds, we're just adding the insurance in for those. We did lower the transportation portion of ESSER two, which we're getting another grant for transportation, so I don't think we'll need that funding in transportation any longer, so we are increasing our insurance for those positions. ELC grant, we are moving $40,000 to the building improvements. As you know, in that grant, we had a clinic remodel on there, so we are increasing the building improvements budget for the ELC grant.
If the board will remember, we needed some remodeling at LCTC back in the computer tech area, and we're making that a clinic and using this grant to do that, so that saves the county funds on having to use any AFT or county funds to fix that facility back there. So we got a quote, so now we're just adjusting to match the quote.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Presley.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion from Ms. Jenkins, second by Ms. Harvey. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Moffett?
Yes.
Ms. Bridges? Yes. Mr. Ridings?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Presley?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
No. I want Chad thinking he's all that.
Increased fund balance, well.
What else can a man do, right? 5 years, right? Oh, man. All right, moving on, ground control, 2% increase, $3,800 a year, turn over to Dr. Karen.
This is our, I just missed her, yeah, but thank you. I'll try not to, you won't make me a doctor, that's for sure. This is our lawn provider, and they have requested a 2% increase on their contract, which is actually less than the CPI that they could request. And if you've been to the gas pumps lately, they do a great job for us, and I can see that they'd have an increase in their costs just based on fuel alone. So I would recommend that you all approve this request.
Make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Jenkins, second. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Bridges. Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Mr. Moffett?
Yes.
Ms. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Ridings?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Presley?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
All right, moving on, proposed 2022-23 budget.
Yes, and I think the board has seen this at the budget committee meeting. Essentially, the one thing that's changed is the fund balance since we received the audit final numbers. So, but for the benefit of Loudon High School Student Council, I'll briefly go through this. And if you all have any questions or anybody in the audience has any questions, I can go back or go forward. We have 40 million in revenue, 44 million in total expenditures, which is negative 3.3 million effect on the fund balance, but that leaves us with a fund balance of 1.1 million. Then we anticipate rolling at least 3% of our operating budget. This is how the county budgets theirs as well, which is 2.6 million. So the anticipated ending fund balance is now 3.8 million, which is significantly better than where we were at before. I am requesting a 2% raise for all system employees at $526,326. You will probably have seen in the governor's state address that he is proposing $125 million toward teacher salary increases next year. That's about the same amount that he did last year, which, if you remember, was almost a 2% increase for our district when we threw a little bit with it. I would recommend that we leave this in our budget, do 2% from the county, and then whatever the governor sends us, if it passes through the legislature and ends in the budget, add that to what we're doing to make sure we're taking care of our staff. Increases from the prior year budget, adding a computer technician, adding a teacher for growth, increasing transportation costs because of fuel costs, the employee raise, substitute teacher increase. What I want to do is substitute teachers is right now, if you don't have a teacher license, you make $60 a day. If you do have a teacher license, you make $70 a day. I want to change that to where if you don't have a degree, you can move up to $70. If you have a degree, an associate or a bachelor's degree, but don't have a teaching license, then you'd make $80. And if you had a teaching license, you'd make $90. So trying to improve that salary to get some more candidates interested in substitutes. We still have a major challenge of trying to find substitutes to staff our schools, and they're constantly every day in one school or another having to pull parapros or some other staff to cover classes because we don't have an adequate number of substitutes. The savings that we also have in this budget, because it's not all about increases, is we reduced, we had $300,000 allocated for COVID expenses, and we reduced that to $50,000 for next year, so that saves $250,000 out of the budget because we're being able to utilize our federal funds in a way that we've been able to save those. One other additional thing that I didn't have up there is I reduced our central office line item for instructional supplies by $50,000, and I increased the schools by $50,000. That way I took some from our office and distributed that back out into the schools because it's been a little while since they've been seen an increase. So those are the main changes. As you can see, 76% of our budget's salaries, 20% is other expenses, which is supplies, textbooks, professional development, maintenance, tech, contracted services, which you just improve the grounds contract tonight, utilities, insurance, trustee commission, grants. That's how much we get from TDOE, 22.2 million. You'll see we increased about 3 million from TDOE over the last 10 years. County budgeted, we budget about 16.6 from the county. That's mostly, the increase you see there is from sales tax. If you look at the property tax revenue, we were at 9.9 million in 2010, and this last year we were at 9.8 million. So you can see we've not really realized a property tax increase, very minor, over the last 10 years. And then there's the actuals that we have received, and it's basically, you can see our sales taxes went from 2.9 million up to 5.3 over the last 10 years. So that's how we've been operating the school system, is the increase up from TDOE and sales tax. Increase in utility costs, just in utilities, $355,000 more over the last 10 years. Bus costs have gone up $173,000 over the last 10 years. And then textbook expenditures, we've been able to offset asking the county for that money because we've used our federal ESSER money to do that. We did the language last year. This next year we'll do the math adoption out of that same fund, so everybody will get textbooks and math. Enrollment, you can see we've started going back up again. Number on the right includes all of our kids, pre-K and everyone. Number on the left is K-8. And in our personnel count, we added the 3 ESSER positions, but we're still down 20 positions from 10 years ago. And then that just goes through breaking up each school, class sizes, number of teachers, and central office, professional development, which we've not got to do much of this year. And the thing that I want that I will point out to commission again is the bang for the buck. Okay, we've not seen much funding increase, but we're still producing a large number of reward schools every year. So their return on investment, exemplary district, exemplary district, exemplary district. The state didn't test the next year, and then this last year, top 10% in the state. So I feel like the return on investment that this county's getting from the resources they're put in is amazing. But we can't sustain that without additional resources. So, to sum it up, there's our new ending fund balance, $5,049,780, and I apologize, I've not been able to use much of it since I've been here, so I will try to use more of it and get it lower for you, but I think we're doing a good job of managing our funds, and the influx of federal funds has helped by strategically using that. So my request to commission is decreased a little bit from when I did this at budget committee, because since our fund balance increased this year, that lowers the 5-year average to $369,000. So my request is going to be $370 plus the raise at $526. I'll be asking commission for $896,000 when I go down to the budget committee to request for additional funding for us. As we continually increase our costs and dip out of fund balance a little, which not as much the last couple of years, but the federal funds aren't gonna be there forever. They need to start funding us adequately so we can build our fund balance to a manageable level, and still operate the school system and not have to worry about trying to get a fund balance up to be able to give raises the next year. So this is the first year that I've been able to do a budget where we put the raises in initially instead of after we saw the actual roll of money starting the new year. So that's beneficial. And the reason that happened was we were able to put the money from the 321 property into our fund balance and help with cash flow. Does anybody have any questions on the budget? Other than the fund balance, it's pretty much the same one that I presented. That and the request is different because of the fund balance change.
Thanks, sir.
Yes.
All right, we got a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Presley, second by Mr. Newman. Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Ms. Bridges?
Yes.
Mr. Rawlings?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Presley?
Yes.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Moffett?
Yes.
All right, moving on to director's report.
Yes, I received notification yesterday, I believe it was, that from the state of Tennessee, that our CTE emergency services class that we offer is now a Tennessee pathway certification. They identified 102 courses across programs specific to districts across the state this year. And those are evaluated and scored by independent reviewers. And basically, it shows that we've got strong education to career pathways and strong partnership, alignment, advisement. And the certification kind of elevates that program up to where it's an innovative and exemplary program in the state. So our emergency services program at Loudon High School is now a Tennessee Pathway certified program. So I think that's something to really be proud of. They did a really good job out there with that. So I'm really proud of that. We also received a $96,432 grant from USDA for supply chain shortages. That goes into our food service. So we'll be using that to offset costs for actual food. So that, along with the increased revenue this year from the free lunches, we should have our fund balance in food service and 143 at a really good spot at the end of this year as well. So that's another good thing. So that's in addition to the $200,000 grant that Chad talked to you earlier. So since we've last met, we've brought in over $300,000 in additional funds at this point in the year. So that is really great. Our tutoring program is up and running. We got that started right before Christmas. Right now, we've got 71 teachers tutoring, a total of about 320 students district-wide, so that's a good start. I had estimated that we'd be tutoring about 350 by the end of this year, and we're already at 320 starting, so I feel like we're in a good spot there, so I'm proud of that. I also want to recognize some folks. They're not here, but we are on TV and the newspaper's here, so that's good enough for me. Hugh, you do a great job, by the way. Thank you very much. You can quote me on that. The school system tried to support as much as we could the sheriff's department during their time of loss, and they had a reception out at Loudon High School yesterday evening. And we had some of our cafeteria staff that worked that reception. They put in a really long day and a long night, and I wanted to recognize them publicly. Michelle Bushy, Terry Carpenter, Kelly Hudson, Dylan Presley, Betty Russell, Brenda Scott, Lynn Fickey, Sherry Belcher, Christina Jones, and Tammy Davis, along with Principal McIntosh and Norbert Searfoss. Spent a lot of time out there supporting the programs of the Sheriff's Department, which we are happy to do, but I want to make sure that I recognize those folks for that. So I feel like the state of the school system's good, so it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Guerin. Go ahead, Ms. Newman.
Mr. Guerin left out one very important person during all that, and that's Mike Guerin. He was there from the time we got at the school, when I went home last night, he was in there helping clean. He's been nothing but a support for us, and I just hope everybody knows how good of a man that Mike Garrett is. And he's time and time again, he shows it, not just in the time of difficulties, but, you know, day in and day out. And I appreciate you, Mike, and I really appreciate what you've done for all of us, the last couple of days.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Newman.
Thank you.
I don't think anybody here as strong as Loudon County together. There wasn't no Panther, there was no Redskin, it was us. And I love our community, love every bit of it. I love you guys, the job that you guys have done. Mike closing schools, I think, was big for our community. So, but thank you all, thank you, Ms. Karen. Man, we're blessed.
Do not forget tomorrow night, Loudon Inner City, it's a blue out.
Yep, and a reminder
It's
for
a
the
blue
board, our culinary arts class will be preparing meal if you want to join us at 6:30 about halftime of the girls' game in the culinary arts classroom, and they do a great job, so it'll be good. And yes, thank you, Kenny, that should be a great game.
It'll be packed.
That'll be packed. Anybody else got anything?
I just want to say that I appreciate his dedication to the budget and getting that ready. I know that's not easy, takes a lot of time, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the transparency and the openness to share it for everybody to see it.
I appreciate that, and I can't take all the credit. Mr. Presley's
And Mr.
my
Presley.
champion on that, yeah. He knows it forward and backwards. In fact, he sat down with some members of the community this last week and shared some of the budget with them that were interested in it.
Great. Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you all. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Kinda like it.
Kinda like it.
I was waiting.
Yeah, I got nervous.
I kept looking at you, you were looking up.
I got nervous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. How you guys doing?
Like it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you guys.